folks, and welcome back to another Pinal Prep Spotlight brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. Continuing on with our trend, our two games of the week this week are both Casa Grande Union teams. First off, we're going to give you our softball game of the week, which is on Thursday at 4 p.m., and it is CG Union hosting Rico. David, what are we looking for in this game?
What we're looking for is hopefully some improvement from CG Union. They've had a little bit of a rough start this year so far. You know, they just picked up their first win last week against Flowing Wells, but although they've struggled of late, they still have some girls who can swing the bat pretty well. You know, girls like Caliana Barnett, she's batting .387 with a .486 on base percentage. Then also Brianna Sanchez is swinging well. She's got a .353 batting average. So this team can produce well when it comes to the plate, but it really comes down to pitching inside the circle. The pitching's going to be crucial for them. They've allowed double-digit runs to score in 5 of their first 7 games. So a lot of it is going to come down to pitching, like we've been talking about this whole entire season between baseball and softball. Pitching really is the difference maker in these games. So they're going to have to come out. Whoever comes out in the circle on Thursday is really going to have to make sure they have their best stuff, because Rico is still a very good team, and they're still trying to prove themselves. They're pretty decent so far this year. So it's going to be kind of, I feel like, a fairly even match as long as the bats stay hot with those 2-3 big producers that Casa Grande has, as well as the pitching. Make sure they're on top of their game. So we're going to look out for that and hope they can get on a run a little bit and start improving this far the rest of the season.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of a tough task for CG Union. Looking at Rico, they have two really hard-hitting pitchers in Kiana Garcilaso. So far, 15 and 2/3 innings pitched. She has a 3.57 ERA, and then also Cassandra Navarro. Both of these have 16 strikeouts each. Navarro has pitched 16 and 2/3 innings. So, these two pitchers are kind of battle-tested. I got to see them a couple weeks ago against Vista Grande, and they really gave Vista Grande a run for their money. The Spartans barely won that game 11-10 in the 6th inning. So, CG Union is going to have their hands full trying to go up against these two pitchers. And like David mentioned, besides those few hitters, they don't really have a lot of production from the rest of the team. So it's going to be interesting to see, how many other girls can step up and, kind of find their swing and get things going for the Cougars. David, is there anything else you want to add?
I think you've nailed I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I think you said it perfectly on that point there, where the pitching has to be solid, and those 3 core players that they have, they really have to keep it up so they can keep themselves in games and start improving, because they can have a turnaround this season if they really can put their minds to it. So they're going to have to keep doing that and looking for better performances throughout the rest of the season.
All right, now transitioning over to baseball, CG Union. This game will be on Friday at 6 p.m. The Cougars are going to be hosting Marana. And with the first AIA rankings coming out this week, CG Union is currently ranked number 16 in the 5A conference. David, what are you expecting out of this matchup?
Well, first of all, with CG Union, it's really interesting because the last time they played against Vista Grande in the Crosstown rivalry game, they won that game, and they haven't lost since. They have gone 4-0 in that span, and the offense has been there for most of the time, but it's really been the pitching that has been the difference maker. They have some serious guys like Jacob Marshall, 2.14 ERA within 19 and 2/3 inning pitch. Marcus Baca, 1.14 ERA. And then Austin Grappius has had a pretty decent season so far. He has an ERA of 4.03. But even with that, kind of doesn't look great on paper, but he is still a guy that can eat up innings for you and strike out batters. And he's only a junior, while Baca and Marshall are both seniors. So he is in a prime position if he can keep developing to become that big senior ace for them next year, as long as he keeps improving in his junior season right now. So I really like this pitching staff. I like the offense that they have, especially when they can get hot. They've allowed only 1 run to each of those 4 teams that they faced since playing Vista Grande, so the pitching, again, has been top-notch for them. They're going to have to keep it up against Marana, because Marana is no slouch either. They're 8-4 right now in the 2022 season, and 4 of their 5 players that have had over 40 plate appearances are batting over .350. So this is a really good, strong batting team, and the pitching is going to have to really, keep up their good performances. We're not sure who will start on the mound on Friday night, but it should be a good one no matter what. They have to keep the Marana bats honest here, and if they do that, they could keep going and keep that streak alive.
All right, so this is kind of an early test for CG Union. So far, both them and Marana are 4-3. They're both 1-0 in the 5A Sonoran region, and this game could kind of be that early postseason matchup to prepare CG Union. For what the rest of this region has in store for them. For Marana, we really have to talk about one guy in Albert Broussard. So far, he is batting 279, but he has 15 RBIs. And then on the mound, he has a 2.95 ERA and 19 innings pitched and 25 strikeouts. Overall, this Marana pitching staff has done a fantastic job. They only have a 1.93 team ERA, and defensively, a .897 field percentage, only 28 errors. So it's going to be very difficult for these Cougars to in the batter's box. What can they do against this pitching staff, and then also trying to get the ball up past this their fielding. David, is there anything else you want to add?
I just think it's really interesting how Casa Grande's been able to go on a run. That it seemed like winning against Vista Grande against that crosstown rival really lit a fire under them. They were a little bit struggling before that game, and then they just came out. They've beat Vista Grande, and then the three other games they've had since then have won them all. So they're really on a good roll right now, and we'll see if they can keep it up because it seems like that game really put a fire under them so they perform better, and they have so far. We'll see if they can keep it up.
Yeah, I also have to mention that, this is kind of similar to last year. CJ Union had this really lengthy run where they got some really big wins, and that's kind of what catapulted them into the 5A playoffs this year. So far, this might be a bit early, but hey, if they do enough damage, this could also help them out in the long run and kind of repeating what they want to do and making a deep postseason run this year. That pretty much does it for our games of the week. Be sure to check out Pinal Central all week long for all of your spring sports coverage and check back in next week.